Caution, disclaimer, this video is created for educational and entertainment purposes only. It reflects my personal thoughts, questions, and independent research, and is intended to foster a film community and encourage discussion. This content is not meant to offend, slander, or present complete or definitive truths. Please do not attempt to replace anything shown or discussed on this program. Filmtrix Politix Podcast and its affiliates are not responsible for any mishaps, misunderstandings, or misinterpretations. All opinions expressed by a guest are their own and do not reflect the views of Blackjack TV, its content, or the Filmtrix Politix Podcast. Enjoy the show, engage respectfully, and be entertained.
Hey, yo, what's up, Hey, I'm back. Kane King with Filmtrix and Politics. Hey, I'm going to be moving a little bit, so I might be in and out of focus, but I don't care. Yesterday, I attempted to do this video. I've tried to do it 3 times, but I'm going to do this for a 4th time. And the reason is because I kind of got beside myself and forgetting why I'm doing Filmtrix and Politics is because, like I said, it's a open digital journey of film, entertainment, politics, all of that goes on with it. And so as I'm going to go do endeavors that have to do with filmmaking, creativity in the arts, I'm meeting different type of people. I'm getting inspired by different types of energy and things of that sort. So it kind of brings on this kind of idea of like, get it right, be perfect. A lot of people are watching, they're listening. If they're not watching, they will be. You know what I'm saying? And I know you guys are, but you also want authentic. You want a person that's just like turning the camera on and getting right to it. And that's really where a lot of these social media influencers, when you go and talk, when you go and look them up, it's like, what can I do to increase engagement? How can I make myself look more, podcasty, whatever? Turn on the camera and get going. Just turn on the camera because people just want that authenticity. They don't want you to like put too much thought process, overthinking it. And that's what I was doing. I was overthinking it. Overthinking it. Not today. Turn the camera on right now, just like couple of weeks ago when I had my phone and I was just going through certain topics that I wanted to go through and we just walked through it. That's what we're going to do today. So I'm looking up tricknology because Professor Charles Woods, I was about to say Booker, Charles Woods basically breaks down what tricknology is within film, which is something that can be considered a pseudoscience or it could be considered a tinfoil hat observation. But being that we're in the times we're in now where conspiracy theorists are really up right now with a lot of things that we're told that aren't true, that have became truth. I keep pulling up this other story that I'm going to go into months and months from now. Tricknology. Let's see. The new Star Wars. Let's go to this one 10 years ago.
Pay over $2,000 to create.
So while that's doing its advertisement thing, what sparked this was that I got a chance to go hang out with some actors at a table read, and I got a chance to see their dialogue in between their table reading, which was probably one of the most interesting situations was to witness. It felt like I was in a live podcast. It was a cross section. You had women, you had black women, you had... Okay, so Like I said, just turn the camera on, but the camera decided to turn off on me, but I'm back. You had women, you had black women, you had younger women, older women, you had white guys, a little bit older guy, you had black men. We're all sitting at the table, and they're all discussing the in-betweens of what's going on in the script. So the script is based off of Guess Who's Coming Home from Dinner. Guess Who's Coming Home to Dinner? The movie with Katharine Hepburn and Sidney Poitier. Yes, that movie. The one that came out in 1964. I believe it was 1964. It might be 1967. But either way, during that time, that's when the height of the civil rights movement was going on. This is when Lyndon B. Johnson was sitting down, possibly getting some phone calls from Stokely Carmichael, like saying, hey, the riots can stop. We just need some equity and equal justice and sign them civil rights bill. Martin Luther King, he in there making phone calls, doing all this kind of thing. All of this is happening at the same time. Also, over in Virginia, there's a case called Loving versus Virginia. Clever name, Loving. Because it was all about love. This white man was deeply in love with this black woman, and in the times of segregation, that was a no-go, especially in Virginia. So in Virginia, they had a law that you could not be interracially married. So during this time, Sidney Poitier and Katharine Hepburn, of course there's other actors that was involved as well, but they decided to make this movie, or be a part of this movie, that changed the world, rocked the world at that time. Because there was a sophisticated looking black man on screen that a white lady, even a young lady, was bringing home to the parents, which forced the white audience and white families to face their own beliefs about what they thought was the right way to be betrothed together, relationship, all those kind of things. So this was that movie. So Guess Who's Coming Home to Dinner? They also made a recent remake, I believe it. Gosh, why can't I think of the guy's name? I will put it in there. I know I'm bad with names, but he comes from the 90s, 2000s era, Frank. Yeah, Ashton Kutcher, Bernie Mac, Zoe Saldana. Guess Who Coming to Dinner? Or it's just Guess Who? It's just Guess Who. It's just Guess Who. It was just Guess Who. Ashton Kutcher, that's what I was trying to think of. Anyways, they made a remake of Guess Who's Coming Home to Dinner, and it was a white boy coming home to a black girl, which is da-da-da. So at this play, that I'm not going to disclose the name or anything yet until they give me exclusive permission to say so, but I can speak around it. So they were discussing, how would it be if someone was to keep a secret from you that you liked until it was too late, and it was something that was kind of mortifying and embarrassing, and it had to do with the social issues that we have created as far as color lines and whatever that goes, and discrimination, bigotry, prejudice, leading up to racism. So this play is touching on racism. And as I was sitting there, the reason why I bring up the actors is because I felt like I was in the middle of a podcast. I felt like I was in the middle of a podcast just learning about how this psychologically affects the characters and how it changes and makes them explore certain areas that in day-to-day life we don't get a chance to explore these things. Not everyone. Now, we'll hear about the story on the news about some racism situation that's happened, but it's not our experience. So we're easily to distract from it, or just, that's over there, that happened to those folks. It's easy to do that. Now, when you experience it, and then there's also this collective cultural experience, meaning, and this is very prevalent in the black community. I'm not sure if it's in the white community or other folks' communities, but in the black community, and I believe in the native country communities, when one of us mess up or do good, we feel collective about it. when one of us needs some correcting and some help, we feel like we need to do that. Sometimes it could be to the detriment of us. Most of the times it's to the blessing of it, because I don't want us to ever give up that trait of humanistic values that we've acquired over millennia of years, to be a caring people. Not that other people aren't caring. Don't want to get hit with that. But if you do, you know what to do. Put it in the comments. But check it. This is something that we're looking at when I was listening to these people talk. And so it kind of brought up other things. I was looking up on here in a video about tricknology. Tricknology was something that I kind of like came across because this was like probably early 2000s, 2010s, when I was kind of waking up, opening my mind, learning new approaches, books, and things of that sort. I started learning about tricknology, which I kind of felt like I saw and knew anyways, which is, I'm getting to it, which is the breakdown of how movies and what they allow in movies in order to program us to be up under a certain regime and agenda that people say the connected families, the higher families, the people that are above the politicians and the city officials area, the boule, the circle within a circle, the advisors to the kings, things that you could look up when you go look up Steve Coakley, RP him. We look up those things talking about the boule, Skull and Bones, the talented nine, all the divine nine, the talented 10. If y'all hear this click, it's my shirt tapping on my microphone here. I'm getting too excited. At the same time, if you got to put your 10-4 hat on in order to follow this, to stay with me, then do that. But there's a real science behind this of how these Masonic, I guess, lodges and organizations work in order to keep the capital of the money to the top and the poverty of the situations on the bottom, which is a small percentage at the top and a very large, wide percentage of people at the bottom. That's why it's like a pyramid situation. So in that, media, movies, TV, radio, all of those things have become the very long arm of the propaganda arm of lots of countries. Some countries call it state TV. Some countries call it CNN. Just depends on where you are. Or Fox. Okay, I said it. So it just depends on where you are in the world that you're getting this beam of programming. Programs to program. Television. So I don't know. But at the same time, movies. You got somebody in a dark box, no windows. The only window is this big silver screen in front of them that's flashing frames at 24 seconds or 29 seconds per second every frame. It's getting that. And it got the undivided attention of that audience, because that frame that we put it in, everything in that frame is made on purpose. That is the job of a director of photography or a cinematographer, however you want to call it. Yes, the director has some input, but the director of photography is the one that's making this art design. So that art design of you sitting in that theater getting programmed by a program, because people used to go to the movie theater and they would watch commercials.
Yes, you lucky people, just sit back for a moment, relax, and notice the delightfully clean, cool, and refreshing atmosphere of this scientifically air-conditioned theater. Great, isn't it? Remember, you can enjoy great motion picture entertainment all summer long in cool comfort at this theater.
They would watch commercials in between their movies. That's how they would sell the products, like soaps and suds, all those kind of things, tires, whatever they wanted to sell, whatever was coming out, and also to sell their other item, which was air conditioning, central air conditioning. That's why movie theaters were so popular when they first came out, was because of air conditioning. So as that is going on, you're in there being programmed. What better way to program someone? So the movies started being made. They never intended for us black folks to be really involved with it in a way that we could be, the way we should be, because we have inventors, we have heroes, we have triumphs, we have villains, we have entrepreneurs, all of those things in our storylines of America, and we're part of America because guess what? Like I said before in a couple other episodes, even when the slaves were enslaved, they were American slaves. They were American, and they're still American, and then the descendants are American. And so those people were trying to be part of the fabric of the entertainment filming industry. But not being able to be a leading man, not being able to be looked at as a successful. So when we saw the movie with Sidney Poitier as a successful black man, not only did that wow and bizarre the white folks, black folks was like, oh shit, whoa, it's one of us in a suit, in an office, talking shit to the white man. And looking good doing it. So we was like, okay. Then he comes out with a movie, and the slap that was heard around the world. Until then, you never had a black person buck up to a white actor or a white character or any of the sort. Even when it was granted, most of the time you would see all the way to the end where the black character is either in a groveling position, forgiving position, or trying to teach somebody how to be a forgiving with their own situation that the entire movie was about. That we would have been okay if you cut this cracker's head off. Sorry, I had to say it like that, because that was a exploitation movie. That's what they use the word cracker, they use the word nigga. They use all those words. I'm gonna bleep those out. Damn it, YouTube. I'm gonna bleep them out, okay? Okay, I'm gonna bleep them out. But the thing is that blaxploitation was the change that happened. But before that change, I'm getting too far ahead of myself. Let me bring it back. So, the slap that was heard around the world come from Sidney Poitier when the rich, white, wealthy man that he was suspecting, because Sidney Poitier was a detective in this movie. He was he was the main guy. He was the man. He was suspecting in the small town that is very clearly racist. He was suspecting that the rich, wealthy man that no one was suspecting was the one that killed. And he went there to question him. So he's at this man's house. This man is like, the audacity of you, Negro, to be in my presence, breathing my good white man air. Reeled back and slapped the shit out of Sidney Poitier. And Poitier came back and slapped the shit out of the white man. And the officer in there looked at him, and he didn't know what to do. It happened so quickly.
To ask you about Mr. Colbert.
Let me understand this. You two came here to question me?
Well, your attitudes, Mr. Endicott, your points of view are a matter of record. Some people, well, let us say the people who work for Mr. Colbert might reasonably regard you as the person least likely to mourn his passing. We were just trying to clarify some of the evidence. Was Mr. Colbert ever in this greenhouse, say last night, about midnight?
Gillespie? Yeah. You saw it.
I saw it.
Well, what are you gonna do about it?
I don't know.
But that right there opened up the door for us to start to see movies like Sweetback Badass by Melvin Van Peebles.
Can you take it, baby?
I don't know where Sweetback is. Come on, boy, talk!
Yes, the good thing, fairy godmother. Why, didn't you know that all good dates had fairy godmothers?
Every dollar we make, the Guineas get 20, the police get 40, and Goldbergs get 50. Anybody can tell you that don't add up to $1. That adds up to $1 and a dime.
No, I haven't seen Sweetback.
I haven't seen the cat. I mean, I don't want to see him. You just keep leaning and leaning and leaning. Get the off my back, man!
Very artistic, time capsule changing film. Lots of people see the film as this artistic timepiece, such as myself. One of the mentors, never got to meet him or anything, but one of the mentors to look up to, Melvin Van Peebles, and his son Mario Van Peebles, making the movie Posse in the late 80s or early 90s, I believe, around the time when the movie came out, from his son. But before that, the blaxploitation era, Melvin Van Peebles, along with others, ushered this in. Isaac Hayes ushered this in. And some thought that the movie was probably kind of difficult or hard to watch, or even trash, dare I say. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I don't believe it. I believe it's one of our cultural icons, Melvin Van Peebles, Sweetback Badass, because this is where we got to say, this is down with the pig, you know what I'm saying? Down with the cop, the pig, and see him get shot down by the man, by the black man, the man getting taken in, you know what I'm saying? You dig, jive, turkey. That's what we got to see. But we also got to see
Damn, baby, wow! God, I was just thinking about you a couple of days ago, man. Look at you, wow! You look pretty.
I want to know where these bitches are. I mean, nobody's out here on the corner. Where the hell are they? I gotta straighten their heads out, you know? I let a bitch get away with something last night. I shouldn't have let her get away with it.
Put a foot to her ass.
Well, you said put a foot to her ass?
Right on, baby.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
He took all my money and he made me strip.
What are you talking about? Hey, why aren't you over there where you're supposed to be?
The white chick, he tried to off me, man.
Let me tell you something now. You listen to me, and you listen to me closely. I don't give a shit about what happened to you. Now, I want you to get yourself together and get back out there and get me my money. Now, I don't care how long it takes you. You get out there and get it. Now, get!
Prostitution at its height. Pimping at its height. You know, pimps and hoes and Huggy Bear and Iceberg Slim, you know, these type, Goldie, these types, which that imagery, those movies coming out so quickly and showing the aggression that we have been needing to see, so that when we got to this point, we would have a little bit more diversity of films, because there is a film in those times that was more dealing with social issues and really dealing with the internal social issues of Black America in that time, but people didn't want to see that. Just like how right now a lot of people don't want to hear good rap that's talking a good message. They just want to hear the other stuff that we grew up on. You know what I'm saying? But in the movies at this time, that's what was happening. So blaxploitation, it exploded in the neighborhoods, in the urban areas where everybody wanted to be a pimp. And for some reason, all the women wanted to be hoes. And I don't know. Maybe they want to be like Pam Grier, sexy black chocolate coffee, all that kind of Foxy Brown, those type of things. Maybe they wanted to have the blonde hair in the tight, electric blue pants on and strut they stuff and have a man, protecting them and live like they in a community. I don't know. Who knows? But we would have to go visit E40 and Too Short over in Oakland, or somebody over in Oakland. Hey, I'm down to come over there and hang out and learn more about that history of that was going on. Not that that's what the city is known for. I don't want Oakland to think that about it. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying when we see a lot of these cool stories from back in the 60s and 70s and things of that sort, it seemed like that was a pretty happening place, man. Cue the 70s music right here. Alright, so we're back. But the thing is that blaxploitation time was it was a good and a bad time. It was a gift and a curse. Gift and a curse because it showed how much independence and how much creativity and how much star power black folks had, because the movie The Shaft, it saved, let's see, wait a minute, I don't want to get it wrong. Just like Blade saved Marvel, Shaft saved what company? Shaft. Movie Shaft, Metro. Yep. So the movie Shaft saved the company MGM, which is Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. In the late 1960s, early 1970s, MGM was struggling financially and close to collapse. Shaft, 1971, starring Richard Roundtree, became a surprise hit. It was made on relatively low budget but earned a strong box office returns. And speaking on Richard Roundtree, he was a magazine model, I believe, for either Jet magazine or something like that. He was a model. They didn't want to take a risk on him because they wanted to keep a mustache on him. And this is something that I'm getting from Professor Charles Woods, the architect of the trigonology lesson that we have in film. The trigonology of film. This is by Professor Charles Woods. This is not by me. I am a student, merely a student. Okay, and I do still owe my fees to his class. So, but the thing is that Shaft is another one of those films that a black leading actor, Shaft was based on a novel written by a black author, Ernest Tidyman. Ernest Tidyman, who was black, wrote the original Shaft novel, 1970. He also co-wrote the screenplay for the film. The movie was directed by Gordon Parks, a pioneer black director. You guys go look up Gordon Parks. Definitely got to go look up that. That's awesome. I'm going to actually do an entire episode on Gordon Parks here pretty soon. So, but the thing is, Shaft was one of those movies that was counted out because it had a leading black actor, wrote by a black screenplay. Of course, it's going into the blaxploitation era films that was doing good, but not necessarily blockbuster hits. This movie became a cult classic and a blockbuster hit. Not only that, it also pulled MGM out of the financial struggle that it was in those days. Just like Blade with Wesley Snipes pulling Marvel out of the financial ruins that it was. It was literally about to shut down and be no more at all. And now we have Doomsday coming in December of 2026. So this is something that we have to look at as black independent filmmakers is that we're not trying to be stush or stuck up or stank on it or you gotta have went to film school and all that stuff. It's about having a standard. Even if you didn't go to film school, it's like having a standard of like understanding like I want to eat on white linen cloth or a black linen cloth, and I want to have nice cloth napkins to eat at. I don't want to always have to use paper napkins or paper plates or plastic spoons. I don't want to always have to hodgepodge whatever it is I'm trying to do. I want to take some planning. I want something to look professional. I want it to look high grade and high end at whatever level that I can set it at. Remember when I was saying you need a level set with whatever you're doing? I'm still saying that even though I'm expecting more out of what we end up producing as independent filmmakers. We have to look at that. We have to. But Shaft and Blade, and there's countless other films that have saved franchises. Actors that are Black American, foundational Black American actors that have saved franchises and made them move forward. You know what I'm saying? So that's where this was coming down. And then basically I'm gonna go to a video here soon so we could take a little video break, and I'm gonna come back and we're gonna talk about The Spook Who Sat by the Door, the movie about the black CIA agent, the first black CIA agent. We're gonna talk about that. But the main thing is that it gave me more energy being at that table read, listening to them in between the gray areas. Nothing about the script they were reading, nothing about the exceptional acting I was seeing as they were sitting down. It was about the gray areas that I was seeing, the things that they were talking about that helped me understand like why we're doing Filmtrix and Politics, why the creators of the world, we're the ones documenting the world. We're documenting the world's history down. We're telling the world what's going on. 300 years from now, people are going to be watching videos that we created today. They're going to be watching. Because do you not think that if they had video cameras during the pyramids being built, that we wouldn't be watching that? I would be watching it. I'd be studying it. They're going to be studying us today, even though their technology will be way more advanced than what we have. But they'll still be wanting to use these nostalgic technology pieces that we have. So I'm going to go to the video. We're going to talk about The Spook Who Sat by the Door when we come back. We're also going to touch on a little bit more technical technology stuff to make it more real for you. Remember when I told you about that the CIA has an office in Hollywood and Hollywood has an office in the CIA? We're going to talk about that. Hey, go to that video.
The controversial best-selling novel now becomes a shocking screen reality. The story of the first black agent in the CIA.
Whoever they select will be the best-known spy since 007.
Their first mistake was letting him in.
And let me congratulate you on being the first Negro officer in the Central Intelligence Agency.
Their worst mistake was letting him out.
You really want to mess with Whitey? I can show you how.
For 5 years, he was their token Negro.
Freeman, you people must serve.
For 5 years, he kept his cool.
Man, you just don't belong. I think you'd be happier with a mop in your hands. Like your mama.
And in return, they taught him how to spy. How to fight. How to kill. For 5 years, he was the spook who sat by the door. And then he turned gangs of ghetto kids into a highly trained guerrilla army.
We live off the land. We match technology with spontaneity and improvisation. Men against machines, brains against computers. Now, if you don't think it can work, you check out Algeria, Kenya, Korea, and Vietnam. Can you dig it?
He turned a summer riot into a revolution.
This is not about hate white folks. It's about loving freedom enough to die or kill for it if necessary.
He turned the American dream into a nightmare. Yesterday, a novel. Today, a movie. The spook who sat by the door.
In the mayor's office.
Liberals who have lifted them up, Howard.
Paul, you conservatives make a mistake. You can't afford to strangle hope in people. Without hope, people become dangerous.
No, Howard. You liberals have let them invade our society. You give them jobs, political jobs.
Paul, you missed the point. It's only the smart ones we move up.
That makes it even worse.
No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us. No, we have to move them up. If we leave a smart one in the ghetto, he might develop into a leader against us. But if we raise him up into white society, we neutralize him. He feels compelled to try to act like us. He loses his identity and his racial anger, if he has any. He becomes alien to his brothers. They realize he sold them out and they grow to hate him. He becomes worthless to them and safe for us. No, thank you. In fact, in his love for the creature comforts, except for his color, he's become one of us.
Yeah, that right there was an excerpt from the movie Trick Baby, 1974 dinner scene, and that was basically a table full of Caucasian white males that look like they're pretty affluent, and female, look like they're pretty affluent with money, rich, wealthy, and they're talking about what it is to assimilate a black person in America, or pretty much wherever there is a white society that they want. And so their thing they're talking about is neutralizing the threat that they feel is a threat, which is the black spirit, the black person, which they feel, since all the atrocities that was done to us by them or by their ancestors or by them at the time or whatever it is they got going on, that they feel that those atrocities are going to be revenged by us. So we're going to infiltrate and revenge. So before that, they want to give us this calming of bring them in, move them up, give them up higher, get them out of the environment that they came in, make them feel indifferent from where they come from. So that way they don't even want to help the others from where they come from. They don't want to help. They just want to stay where they are. Some of that, I believe, has worked. I think some of that has been a real thing that has worked on a lot of society. Some of it will call it the Willie Lynch letter syndrome, the situation of how to break a slave.
Man does how he pleases with his property. You come here. I say come here!
Days ago, I was with my family in my home. Now you tell me all is lost.
If you want to survive, do and say as little as possible.
Well, I don't want to survive. I want to live.
And how to break a mind. And so those are kind of things that's playing with. In saying that, I just want to segue into The Spook Who Sat by the Door, a novel by Sam Greenlee that basically got turned into a movie. The movie was so revolutionary in what it was dealing with that it was pulled before it even had a chance to have legs and get across the country. But the places that did get to see it, it wasn't held a secret, and it was been in dark circles and secret circles along the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. I believe in the early 2000s is when I kind of caught wind of this, the Spook Who Sat by the Door, and it was more so a book, and then somebody told me it was actually a movie that was made, And so I actually am like recently this week has been trying to sit down and watch it. I've watched at least an hour. I need to sit down and watch it all the way through again. I just kind of get in segments so I can do this segment. But as I'm watching it, I'm looking at there's a lot of tokenism versus like real equality in it. And so the tokenism is that basically this is about the first CIA agent. And the movie is premised about that they're trying to DEI up the CIA. So that way the transgressions of the America can settle down. There's riots going on. You got to remember, this is coming off of like the Civil Rights Bill. This is coming off of like the 70s was just a crazy time right now. And economic stuff was happening. I believe the gas prices were plummeting, crashing. Like there was gas lines like crazy. So the CIA director in this film, and I believe another government official, decided, hey, let's get some blacks to recruit so that way we can say we're getting ahead of the curve of integration. And not only are we speaking it, we're actually going to practice it, stuff like that. So they actually get a guy, a lot of them, and then they break it down to where it ends up being pretty much like about one person that they focus on. And this guy ends up being like basically just the tokenism, like he's getting coffee, he's making prints. And I believe they made him sit outside of a door to guard a certain top secret area where top secret information was transferred. And so he was able to eavesdrop and listen to, how can I word this without getting myself in trouble? He would eavesdrop enough information from these organizations that he was a part of, CIA, whatever, COINTELPRO, and he learned them. And then over time, I think in the movie, I think he breaks away from the CIA, the government, goes back to Chicago and starts teaching this to community activists and start making different armies or chapters. But this is, as far as I've gotten, this is from the story I'm having, what's going on, of using its own tools against it. So I think the premise was like using their own tools against them. So whatever he learned from the United States CIA, he went and implemented to the activism people. And I believe this is a lot of information that a lot of like thought leaders back in the late 70s, 80s, when they were recording these and having these seminars about what we are, where we come from, how we can move, and what needs to go on as far as into the black community. These thought leaders were like, hey, you need to check out the spook who sat by the door, because this is basically kind of like the canaries in the mine that's kind of giving us a sign. Also, remember when I was saying we're talking about technology in film, in movies, in the media, entertainment. Remember when I was saying that they allow what they want in, so how's that happen? Also, in order for them to have real army or military type movies or government movies, they got to get the intel information from those actual sources. Could be the CIA, Secret Service, type of things like that. So I don't want to make it sound like it's nefarious that the CIA has an office in Hollywood and Hollywood has an office in CIA.
Don't believe you have the right to ask the question of anybody.
It's very apparent that you're following the same line of these other witnesses.
I am following no line.
Which is definitely the communist line.
I am using my own head, which I shall continue to do.
You're excused, and if you want to make a speech, go out here under one of the big trees and sound off.
Mr. Chairman,
The question is, have you ever been a member of the Communist Party?
I'm framing my answer in the only way in which any American citizen can frame his
Then
answer
you denied,
to a question which invades his absolutely invades
Then
his
you
right.
deny you refuse to answer that question. Is that correct?
I have told you that I will offer my beliefs, my affiliations, and everything else to the American public, and they will know where I stand, as they do from what I have written.
Stand away from the stand.
For Americanism for many years, and I
But I do like saying it that way so it can kind of be memorable in your mind and give you a kind of a second thought to be like, oh, let me think about things when I see things. It's not necessarily what it's cracked up to be. You know, maybe this is some sort of psyop that's going on, or maybe this is something that's real, and this is not a drill. So, but at the same time, it's like looking at this is it was just like, say, hey, take a look at this book, take a look at this movie. Let's, you know, think about COINTELPRO, these kind of things that were happening, infiltrating. What was so important about keeping the black man in this certain position? And that's when we get into classism and racism. And you start to understand how writers that were black writers, or writers that were white, that were trying to write black stories, some that kind of got it, that could try to understand what black people were going through in this society, how they were maneuvering. So that way you could write very sincere characters and have very sincere development behind it. As much so to where a writer could write it so descriptive and in-depth that the cast is having this in-depth conversation that's literally healing, because each person that's witnessing this is wanting to join in and engage in the conversation that we all know that's been the fabric of this United States since we've been born. All of us, no matter what race you are, no matter what party you align with. We all been living in this country, feeling this colorable society since we've been here. And that brings it to, like, you know, a full circle of understanding of why these kind of topics are important to talk about, and then directors and writers are important to be able to digest and share these ideas openly through their music, through their movies, but through their movies, through their art, and saying this is what's happening in society. This is what's going on. You know. Now, you know, so, oh yeah, I didn't get a chance to say the committee. So back to the committee, the federal part, the government part of it. What makes this more real, okay, for you folks that are, oh, he got a tinfoil hat on out here, he's speaking some conspiracy theories, things and stuff like that, and cut that out, you know. But and I'm coming at it, okay. HUAC, they call it HUAC, which is the House Un-American Activity Committee. This is the House Un-American Activity Committee, which is a committee that's part of the federal government. Let me put a clip in. This is a committee that's part of the federal government that came in to let you know in Hollywood if this is too black, too Jew, or just flat out too un-American to be filmed and produced and put out and distributed in America. Is that not state TV or what? I thought we was in freedom of speech, freedom to create, freedom to worship, and all those kind of things. Obviously, there's a committee that says, whoa, 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 whoa. There's only so much you could do. There's only so much that you could do with your camera, with your script. There's only so much that could be said. I'm sorry, guys. I keep hitting this microphone. I know y'all probably like, man, what the hell is he doing? There's only so much you could do because the House Un-American Activity Committee is going to deem it probably in a communist realm if it's something that was considered back then. This is in the 50s, guys. This is the 40s and 50s, these times. They still probably exist. Let's look it up. Let me look it up. Let me finish my thought first. That they'll probably deem you communist because you're too black or too Jew or too un-American. Let's look up house. Oh, actually, let me go here. House of Un-American Activity Committee. The House of Un-American Activities Committee, HUAC, often mistakenly called House of Un-American Activity Committee, was a U.S. congressional committee that investigated alleged disloyal and subversive activities, especially during the early Cold War. So a lot of things was based behind the Cold War, which was, if you don't know about the Cold War was between USSR, Russia, USSR, and United States, the eagle versus the bear. And so USSR used to be that with Mikhail Gorbachev, those kind of like president guys. Right now what we have is, I believe, Russia. And I think USSR was the Republic of something, whatever, Russia. But at that time, it was called the Cold War because those were the two superpowers that had nuclear capabilities to nuke everyone off the face of the earth that they decided to. And so for the greater part of 40 some odd years, this has been the scare and threat that was going on, to where I remember in elementary school, we had to get up under our desk just in case of a nuclear fallout. A nuclear fallout. My desk is going to protect me from the radiation, the 300-ton building that falls down on top of us, and our desk is going to save us. That's what they were saying, so that's what we did. But HWAC was a House of Un-American Committee. His mission was to investigate suspected communist influence in the United States, targeted government workers, educators, activists, and especially Hollywood. HWAC in Hollywood is famous for its impact on film industries, held hearings to find alleged communists in Hollywood, led to Hollywood blacklist, where writers, actors, and directors were denied work. Hollywood blacklist, famous group Hollywood 10, refused to testify and were jailed and blacklisted. Supporters said it protected the United States from communist infiltration. Critics said it violated free speech and civil liberties, ruined careers based on suspicion and political beliefs. This sounds like the damn Spanish Inquisition. That's what it sounds like. Probably is. Remember when I was talking about the boule, the circle in the circle, all these kind of things, Masonic? That's what this sounds like. So that's what was going on. That was what was being had. So whenever I'm saying there's certain people and certain people, that's what I'm saying. I'm going to put like a little video here so y'all can talk about it, because I ain't trying to be in trouble, but I definitely want to get the word out what's going on. But like I said, I believe that we need to be the voices. We need to talk. We need to be creative. We need to talk about it. Like, instead of like right now, I think the biggest thing that's going on right now in the world, in America, is Trump derangement syndrome, Blue Anon, QAnon, the right, the left, progressive, all of these things. These are things that need to be documented. We need to make documentaries. We need to make movies. We need to make short films. We need to just interview people right now in real time. Take your camera phone and all your footage and put it together and make it at least 90 minutes long, and turn it into a feature film. Put a name on it, make a cover art for it and put it out. And it could be just about whatever happened, say, in Minneapolis with ICE. It could be about what happened in California, the fires, or maybe the reparations that almost happened in California. They got turned away by the NAACP chapter out there. That's a story. That's conflict right there. A black NAACP chapter in San Francisco, in California, a liberal city, liberal area, turning down or denying reparations to be passed or vetoed by a Democratic governor. That's a story right there. So these are stories that we could be creating. We don't have to stay in the realm of like shoot 'em up, bang, bang, drugs and prostitution, even though that's part of life. But even in that prostitution story, I could go find something off of Bissonnette, or find or listen to somebody's story about Bissonnette, how they grew up, what the story about it. And it can make something that's gonna show the story, the color, the characteristic, the depth, the triumph, the hero arc of that story about what happened. Not just glamorize the sexual proclivities, the criminal aspects of it. Not just glorify that, but actually make it infamous and show the infamy of it, show the humility of it as well. So those are the things that I would like anything that's been said to be remembered from this podcast right now, this episode of this one. Because this is about really technology and the things that we see in film and how it's made. Now, it's not going to go away. And this is, of course, me looking at one angle, one perception of demographic of people, black folks. Not looking at Indian, white folks, Latins, whatever, Latinos. I'm not looking at all that. So there's a whole other thing there. It's like I said, put your tinfoil hat on. This was just an exploration into this sliver of the film world, and also for me to help you understand technology, so that way when you do watch a film, you could kind of see what we're speaking on whenever
wasn't what it should have been. And many people saw it and they viewed it critically in a pejorative sense, where it was just exploitation, sex and violence. And it had a theme of hate. The guilty pleasure for me as a person who grew up on not seeing any bold blackness, we enjoyed it because it was an opportunity to see sexy black women, sexy black men. But overall, it was too much pimps, pushers, and prostitutes.
What the hell do you think I'm running here, a chicken coop? Gentlemen, this is my family. These all prime cut bitches, $238,000 worth of dynamite. It's Fort Knox in pennies. Candy did $17,000 last year. Velvet Miss Sophisticate did 20. Used to be a Paris model. Jess and Annette each did $22,500. Show 'em your wares, bitch. That's Taffy. This bitch grows $37,500 working part-time. Shit, her clients think she's too good to fuck. They call her Colonel Sanders because she's finger-licking good.
Oh, Mama. You got yourself a family.
From a socio-political perspective, it was disappointing because it could have been so much more.
So whenever we're like discovering film, you can like see what we're speaking on when we're talking about technology. Technology, again, is just a pseudoscience to understand how media, filmmakers, writers, directors, producers, even production companies can manipulate how movies and what kind of movies can come out and what kind of messages are going to be put in those movies. And it's up to us and people like Professor Charles Woods deciphering it and coming up with a term called technology about films. But before we go, I want you guys to make sure you go check out Guess Who's Coming Home to Dinner which is a 1964 version with Sidney Poitier and Katharine Hepburn. I want you to go check that one out. Then I also want you to go check out the movie, I think it's called Loving versus Virginia, or it might be called The Loving, which is a cool movie about the interracial relationship, very historic. And then another movie we talked about was The Spook Who Sat by the Door, which was, when was this one? This was in the 70s, I believe. But The Spook Who Sat by the Door, check that one out. And I did say, Guess Who's Coming Home to Dinner? That one's with Spencer Tracy as well. Shouts out to him, and Katharine Hepburn, Sidney Poitier. So check those out. That was great. I want to give a shout out to the casting team that I got a chance to sit down and do the table read again. I know I keep saying that, but I was just blown away, and it helped bring out this conversation here. So next week, we're going to tackle on some more conversations. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you can be alerted whenever I drop new videos. And I'm going to be dropping some new videos every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. And we will be going live on some of those nights. But right now, we're just dropping the videos that we're having. We do got some interviews lined up. So until then, peace. And I'll see you later. And I'm Kane King, the filmmaker's filmmaker. And holla. So, yeah. What's up? TikTok? What's up, TikTok? Y'all still kicking it?